Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are all well, healthy, and safe in this troubled situation. Please keep yourself safe. Try not to communicate and stay home. We get back to our classes for the Scarlet letter. I posted these bunch of questions yesterday or last night. I have two groups, one with the official email, some of you are here, and the other one with my normal email. Fortunately, the other group, evening classes, and some of you who do not have their official emails have dealt very well with these questions, have raised some issues, have discussed these questions in detail. It's only to keep you updated, to fresh your memories, and not to let you forget or keep yourself busy with other issues. This is not a kind of exam or a quiz. We just try to have a conversation to keep ourselves busy with our own work. I'm trying to be very brief and direct and concise in dealing with these questions and the next chapter, chapter 3, as I have only 12 minutes because I'm not able to upload long videos because the internet connection is very bad these couple days. Why chapter 1 did not refer to any characters? The writer wanted to allocate a great importance to chapter 1 to keep it for the furnishing the background of the story, give details about the Puritan ideologies, refer to symbols like the rose bush, like the cemetery, the prison door. So he did not want to keep the reader busy with some characters, identifying who's that one and who is this. That's why he kept it for these important issues. How is it important? It's important because it gives us an idea about what a Puritan people look like. What did they do when they first came to New England? The symbols that connect those people to the ground, like the rose bush, the cemetery, and the prison door. The major issues Hawthorne covered in chapter 3. He described the setting, the marketplace. He referred to women. How do they look like in the Puritan society? How they have been molded. How did the society contribute in showing women the way they are? And it also gave us some information about Hester while she just leaves the prison and gets herself introduced to the community on the scaffold, and how the church people are represented by being bad, stiff, strong, and tough, with some reference to Hester's past. Why women are portrayed in this manner? In order to show the clear difference between these women and Hester. And how do you perceive Hawthorne's view towards the church? You can, from the very beginning, notice that Hawthorne is dissatisfied with the church and the way it deals with the society. He is not against religion, but he is against the people who represent religion, because they have turned it into something difficult by which they use it just like a kind of a weapon to deal with people. What do you think of Hawthorne's description of Hester's husband? From the very beginning, Hawthorne tries to push you to force you to hate this character, because he's gonna develop it into a bad person later. The significance of chapter 2. It is important in many issues. It reflected the important characters like Hester, like a new person who is supposed to be her husband. We don't know his name yet. Like the religious system. How do they deal with Hester and Hester's trouble? Hester is a problem and her past. So these questions were triggered yesterday. You may have noticed that. Chapter 3 is the recognition. I have 7 minutes. Chapter 3, from the very title, actually before chapter 3, in the previous chapter, we noticed that among the crowd, there is some person who caught sight of Hester, and Hester noticed that there is something or somebody she might know, And this idea is developed to occupy chapter 3, the recognition, التعرف أو التمييز. Somebody is being recognized in chapter 2, and now he is the subject of chapter 3. From the very beginning, from this intense consciousness of being the object of severe and universal observation, the wearer of the scarlet letter, Hester, was at length relieved by descending on the outskirts of the crowd, a figure which irresistibly took possession of her thoughts. So now she noticed that there is somebody here whom she has been very occupied with his existence. So she cared a lot about why this person is present and how she's going to deal with this later. Page 40. Yeah, okay. Here you have a description of that character. He was small in stature with a furrowed visage, which as yet could hardly be termed aged. There was a remarkable intelligence in his features, as of a person who had so cultivated his mental part that it could not fail to mold the physical to itself and become manifest by unmistakable tokens. This is how Chillingworth is described. Now we say Chillingworth because we as readers, we know who he is. I'd like you to pay attention to his name. What does it mean? Chill means cold, very cold. And later we will know something about the kind of relationship that connected Hester with her husband, Chillingworth. It was a kind of a chill relationship. That's why she was not attracted to him, and she has been, she was easily seduced by the seducer, by the somebody we later know, Dimmesdale. Again, at the very first instance of perceiving that thin visage and the slight deformity of the figure, he was deformed, she pressed her infant to her bosom with so convulsive a force that the poor babe uttered another cry of pain. She hugged him so harsh, which pushed him to cry. His look became keen and penetrative. If you remember, in the previous chapter, we said that this person, or her husband, when she started remembering, he had a kind of ability that he is able to penetrate. He has very strong eyes that could penetrate the soul. That's why she was a little bit concerned about how she's gonna meet this person in the future, and how she could hide her secret from him, because he has the ability to read the hearts. A wreathing horror, it twisted itself across his features like a snake gliding swiftly over them and making one little pause with all its wreath intervolutions in open sight. His face darkened with some powerful emotion, which nevertheless he so instantaneously controlled by an effort of his will that save at a single moment, etc. So, if you pay attention to the way this person is described, why is he connected with the snake? You know, the snake is related to Satan, because this is the shape Satan took when he seduced Adam and Eve and convinced them to eat from the apple. So now the writer tries to evoke this kind of let's say connotation. He pushes us to think of this person just like a snake, as an evil person, as a Satan, shaitan. If you move at the bottom of this same paragraph, when he found the eyes of Hester fastened on his own and saw that she appeared to recognize him. So while she's still standing on the scaffold, he know that Hester has recognized who this person is. So he did what? He did something to stop her from divulging who he is and keeping it a secret. He slowly and calmly raised his finger, made a gesture with it in the air, and laid it on his lips. The way we ask children not to make any sound. Like when you raise your finger, put it on your mouth, and you say, shh, don't make a noise, your father is asleep. Then, touching the shoulder of a townsman who stood next to him, he addressed him in a formal and courteous manner. I pray. He started inquiring about what is the situation here, why this woman is standing on the scaffold, and why we're living this situation. Okay. So, in response to his question, what's that lady doing on the scaffold? He said, she had raised a great scandal, I promise you, in godly Master Dimmesdale's church. You say truly? Replied the other. I am a stranger and have been a wanderer. Now we understand why this person was absent, why he is not accompanying his wife when they first traveled from New England to England to New England, why they are not together. So a justification is given to the case of Chillingworth, where he was. I am a stranger and have been a wanderer, sorely against my will. So he has been captivated. He was a wanderer, mutajawil, but against his will. He wasn't able to move for certain circumstances. I have met with the grievous mishaps, some troubles, by sea and land, and have been long held in bonds, yani, among the heathen folk. And he was captivated by the original people of England, the Red Indians, to the southward, and am now brought hither by